Xi Jinping orders everyone to not badmouth the economy and pretend like it is doing well. This as they defend a cliff fall of stock index points, but it failed. Welcome to China Insider. I'm David Zhang. Now, China's Shanghai Stock Index, the official index of Shanghai Stock Exchange, which is the largest stock exchange in China, dropped below 2,900 points. Now, just for me and you who are non-finance bros, a point drop is like losing $1. So it's used to explain the trend of which an average stock price of the list or the index of companies, the rising or falling. And so, of course, if you see drops over time, it's a bad sign. Now, what this means, taking a look at this 5-day trend, the 1-month trend, 6-month trend, and they're all indicating to us that there's a rapid decline in China's stock market. Now, this indicates a big problem with the Chinese economy. So we all know this, right? If things fall down or turn red, it's bad. Now, China's economy is rapidly dying, and the stock market reflects it. Now, here's another quick context. What we're talking about in China, there's actually two types of stocks, something called an A stock and something called a B stock. Now, A stocks are for domestic markets, and B stocks are for foreign investors. So the points that we're talking about that's dropping is in the A stock market, which means it's the domestic economy. Now, Xi Jinping has once again ordered China not to badmouth its economy, using the Ministry of State Security, which essentially is a spy agency, to guard the economy. Now, since when has a spy agency known to be experts on the economy? And of course, it's a stock market. Is it truly controllable like that? Well, apparently it is in China. You can artificially change things. Now, the Ministry of State Security has published 3 articles in 3 consecutive days talking about not to badmouth the economy, saying that they will punish those who use terms to describe the economy negatively. Now, I just imagine, right, a guy dressed in a 3-piece suit, Italian, fully slicked back hair, runs into the stock exchange in Shanghai with his little handgun, and he just points it at the front desk clerk, being like, "Boost that stock up, lady." Now imagine the CIA going to NASDAQ in New York and then telling them to kick it. And then they start banging out stock trades themselves. Or imagine if James Bond sitting across the table holding a silenced pistol and just points it at the person saying that, "Why don't you do something about this?" It's never going to work. But you know how in Wall Street there's that charging bull, right? The bronze statue. It's supposed to signify good fortune and a bullish market. Well, maybe China should order a bunch of James Bond statues and just put them in front of the Shanghai Stock Exchange. Anyways, so we've been hearing about this idiom, right? Emperor's new clothes. Something widely accepted as true or professed as being praiseworthy, of course, because of the unwillingness of the general population to criticize it or be seen as going against popular opinion. Except in China in this case, instead of being praised as such, Xi Jinping's idea is to be more like an ostrich head stuck in the sand. As long as I don't hear it or see it, we can stop talking about the economy being bad. We can pretend like nothing's bad is going on, simply because he's out of other options. Now, he's tried everything, right? So since beginning of the year, China's been on this road to recover, and they put out so many policies. Xi Jinping last month went to Shanghai. He toured all over the economic zones in China. Nothing changed. And so now the house is on fire. And in his view, everything is fine. However, what made everyone so angry in China is that economists, who clearly still have some level of consciousness, posted about the economy, and they were immediately branded as bad people by communist supporters. Logically, it's a mental pool of vomit. Before we continue, here is a sponsor segment. Blueberry Creative is having one of the biggest sales of the year with its Christmas and New Year's sale going on until January 3rd. Now, some of the best products like the Taiwan High Mountain Tea, Sowasu gift set, as well as the Estee Lauder night routine set, they're all on sale for the lowest price of the season. Now, the quantity is very limited because once these sell out, they won't ever come back with such a low price. Now, if you're still in the time to get a gift for your loved ones before Christmas or before the New Year's season, or you just want to get something for your special someone, this is the time to get it, because a lot of these products that you won't find the price anywhere else on the web. And like I said, anything else is still up to grab with my 15% discount, David, and as a code, you can also get free shipping if you're in the US if you spend $70 or more. So definitely check out the link in the description and pick up some great gifts for yourself and your loved ones today. Like in War World, is pretending like the economy is fine a rational approach to solving the economy? So it became a big joke among internet users. First, the slogan was to defend a 3,000 points bottom line for the stock exchange. Of course, that quickly was broken through, and then it became defending all hands on deck, defending that 2,900 points bottom line. And that, of course, got broken through recently again. And so as the Shanghai Stock Index drops below 2,900 points, what's next? Defending 2,800 points. So the goalpost is always moving. And behind that, it just means that the entire economy is dropping like hot potatoes. It's hilarious because Xi Jinping has tried really hard, right? He's tried to do everything, but to no avail, he's back to using politics to rule the economy, which is something he's done always. So how bad is it exactly? Well, according to a finance expert in China named Ge, he made a video, since been deleted, but it was based on Q1 data of 2023. And he called it a 3 zeros of the Chinese economy. First is the number of people approaching zero. Now, in his video, he says in the first quarter of 2023, the number of overseas tourists to China was only 52,000. Now, that number is not even, quote, a fraction of 2019. Of the 52,000 tourists, 56% of them are from Hong Kong, 22% from Macau, and there are only about 10,000 real foreign tourists from other countries. And Ge says that this is like returning to the 1970s, but instead of us, as in the Chinese, not allowing them in, they're just not coming. And the second return to zero is the flights going in and out of China. That's also approaching zero. Now, before the pandemic, there were about 3,800 flights between China and the United States every month, with an average for more than 100 flights a day. Now, the average number of direct flights between China and the United States is about 4 to 6. And this includes transportation, right? Essentially goods transported. And then if you take a look at airports in China, take a look at these photos and videos here. It's empty. Stores are closed in major airports in China. And this is Beijing, by the way. And you see the same thing in Shanghai. So flying activity has been halted to zero. Now, the third zero is money. Now, Ge says that in the first quarter of last year, remember this is still the first quarter, right? Foreign investments in China was about 101.2 billion US dollars. In the second quarter of this year, foreign investment in Chinese companies was only 4.9 billion US dollars. That's a huge decrease. Now, China's economy is once again becoming an island economy, completely isolated. Now, Ge's Weibo, which is his social media, has been banned now, and this video has been taken down. And so much for speaking the truth. But that's not even the worst part. Remember I said he used Q1 data of 2023, right? Which means since then, it's actually gotten much worse. Now, based on November data, compared to that of last year, which was when China was still in lockdown, for example, there's negative growth for fixed asset investment, things like real estate. From January, this is official data, from January to November this year, the total fixed asset investment was about 46.08 trillion yuan. Now, ignore the number here, right? It's a Google translation issue. So it's 46.08 trillion yuan. Now, this is from the National Bureau of Statistics of China. So they actually had the audacity here to claim that it had a, quote, year-on-year increase of 2.9%. Was it really true? So what was the total fixed investment from January to November? So same period from last year then. Well, it was 52.0 trillion yuan. So if you can do any simple math division, you can see here, that's a negative growth of 11.4%. However, more importantly, something else reflects a worse outcome, right? Private investment. So again, same period, from January to November this year, it was 23.53 trillion yuan. Now again, they claim that there's a growth rate. It's negative 0.5%, which essentially in their view is like zero. So they didn't grow or they didn't regress, okay? Now let's again do a simple math. So the scale of private investment from January to November last year was 28.41 trillion yuan. So the calculated result is that the actual growth rate was negative 17.2%, not negative 0.5%. This is all official Chinese data from the Statistics Bureau. So they're not lying, or maybe they are lying, but they're lying even harder than they were last year. So if you do just November alone, right, here are the numbers. The scale of fixed asset investment was 4.14 trillion yuan compared to 4.86 trillion yuan in November last year. Again, so that's a negative of 14.8%. And the most critical number here for private investment in November was 1.9 trillion yuan, so just a month of November. Compared to last year, it's a negative 24.5%. Last year was 2.57 trillion yuan. So almost 25% less than last year. But here's the bigger catch, right? This is shocking. So last year, amid the lockdown, it was the worst economic state China has been in recent decades. Of course, because major cities had ground to a halt. So in reality, you're looking at 25% negative growth a year after the worst pandemic-driven economic conditions in 2022. So it's pretty easy to picture that this is really bad. It's even worse than when it was really bad last year. 25% worse, actually. So there's also export data, right? Similar story, just for time's sake, we'll skip that. But you can imagine now, this is, the 3 zeros is really, really real. Stock markets, especially, they're very responsive to regulations and changes, right? And the CCP is ultimately anti-market. That's their ideology, which is anti-capitalism, and they clash with the simple ideas of capitalism every step of the way. So they're already starting on a wrong foot, but let's just ignore all that, right? The current use by Xi Jinping to use spies to rule the economy, it solidified a concept in communist China, and it is that anybody who dares to talk bad about the economy is branded as the oppressor or anti-revolutionary, or in the words of the Ministry of State Security, it's offending the socialism with Chinese characteristics. Essentially because politically correct tones have been set by the central government today, and so anybody that sways from it saying that the economy is bad, anybody who says so is automatically an insurrectionist, anti-revolutionary, anti-communist, capitalist, imperialist, whatever the term, right? So head in the sand. But still, if this is the official tone of the CCP, anybody who dares to even give a real answer, like Galong, gets silenced and gets punished. So think about this, right? You're not even allowed to talk about it. Heck, thinking about this now, that the economy is bad, is already starting you off to the wrong track. You might end up in jail. Now, even former #1 barking dog of the CCP, Hu Xijin, he was frustrated because he lost thousands of yuan due to the market points drop. So he immediately was reported by somebody else and then banned on Weibo. He even says that the confidence in the Chinese market has collapsed. So you can see that there's a radicalism inside the Communist Party, and it is manifesting, I would say, into these systems, spies, statistics, whatnot. And these economists don't dare to express their frustration, because if they do, they're simply silenced. Apparently, nobody knows about the economy better than the spies. Who needs a Harvard Business School degree when you have Xi Jinping's thoughts and a gun? So I guess secret agents do know how to do everything. Fly a plane, hack a computer, run a stock market. What's next? Spitball a nuclear missile from their mouth? So the Chinese economy back in the days was driven by, I guess you could call it 3 golden chariots, so to speak. Its GDP was propped up by foreign investment, by consumer spending, and by manufacturing/export. But today, all of these 3 golden chariots are gone. In its place are 3 new ones: the Ministry of State Security, the Central Propaganda Department, and the Bureau of Statistics. So we have the spy, the liar, and the fake numbers. And there isn't anything concrete left in the economy. They need spies to control how things are done. And they need the propaganda arm to continue spreading lies. And they need the statistics to make up numbers, which turns out to be fake as heck. So yes, China's GDP is a lie. And so is their entire idea of propping up the economy with spies too. All right, that's it today for the episode on China's economy and its stock market crashing in points, what this means, and the overall situation of China's economy. If you enjoyed the content, leave a like, comment below your thoughts, and subscribe to our channel today. Until next time, I'm David Zhang. Bye-bye.